Let's do this. How's it going, Rogues Gallery? And welcome. Today we have, well, we're gonna have a little chat. We have some stuff to talk about. We have a end of year channel update. We're gonna talk about the past, present, and future of Red Zone Rogue. And well, I've kind of done a little outline of this, so we have a structure to the video. We're gonna talk about new series that I plan on doing on Red Zone Rogue. We have talk about the TCGs that we're currently covering, what I consider to be like my main games, side games, and maybe some potential games that we're going to cover in the future. We're going to talk about what I'm calling the Gundam hole. We're going to talk about a Patreon update. I've kind of overhauled the Patreon to make it more, to provide more value to everyone and to have it better reflect the current state of Red Zone Rogue. We're talking about plans for a 20k milestone, which is we're going to go kind of all out on that, as well as some upcoming projects. And yeah, it's going to be kind of like an informal little chat, but I did structure it a little bit. So kick back. I don't know how long this is going to be. So I do want to mention that 2024, kind of just reflecting on it a little bit, has been in some ways an incredibly brutal year. And in other ways, kind of the best year of my life. This year has been an absolutely ridiculous, wild ride. And it started with like my beautiful, wonderful partner, Robin, getting in a... Okay, long story short, I don't want to get too deep into it, but she had to have major surgery and now has a giant metal rod in her arm, right? So it didn't start good. It didn't start good at all. We also had to get like we had to take my dog into an emergency vet because I'm not going to share the details, but I'll just say her face exploded. She had like a big weird growth on the side of her face underneath her eye, and it grew, and she just, it was brutal, right? I'll spare the details, but I had to do some viscera cleanup, and it was not great. I've also kind of like, lost a bit of my passion for Flesh and Blood. We're going to talk about Flesh and Blood because it's something that people ask about all the time. I don't know if there's anyone still remaining who cares all that much, but we will talk about it. And we'll talk about kind of the reasons for that and kind of where Flesh and Blood is for me personally. But it's also the same year that I traveled to Japan twice. I literally went to Japan twice, and I'm now like a brand ambassador for one of my favorite IPs of all time, for one of my favorite game companies of all time, which would be Cygames. And I'm an official Shadowverse Evolve ambassador. Absolutely loving that game. We'll talk about that as well. I was invited to Anime Expo as an exhibitor and guest. These are just absolute dream come true situations for me. I casted in Grand Archive Worlds, and it was a wonderful, absolutely wonderful experience. And so like this year has been, it's been all over the place, man. There's some even more like really cool stuff that hasn't kind of been published yet that you'll see. I've done some collaborations recently with a YouTuber bigger than mine, and it was also a great experience. Traveled seven times. Yeah, it was kind of a wild year for that. So without further ado, I just kind of wanted to frame this year as like a whole, because this year has just been it's been a doozy, and because of like the loss of passion for Flesh and Blood, the channel it's grown overall, but I've also seen a ton of people leave the channel and leave the Patreon, right? And the whole concept or idea of Red Zone Rogue is like, I want people to follow the channel, well, for me, right? Not for any particular game that I cover, because at the end of the day, we're kind of a TCG variety channel, which doesn't exist. No one does it because it's like not smart. If I wanted my channel to be big, I would just pick like Yu-Gi-Oh or Pokemon or Magic and just focus on that only. But instead, I just want to cover and talk about the things that I genuinely love and are passionate about, which is just card games in general. TCGs, cards are my life, and it's not the smart thing to do. I will say that. If you want to be a YouTuber for card games or whatever, don't do what I do. I've been fortunate enough to have an amazing community, and worked really hard to kind of build the community, not around me, but kind of around me, but not around any specific game, but maybe the types of games that I enjoy and So what I'm trying to say is this year has been it's been crazy, and we have lost patrons, we have lost subscribers, but we're still growing, and I think this year was a turning point for Red Zone Rogue, and kind of a return to our roots. If you have been watching for a long period of time, you'll know that we started talking about Force of Will. All right, so now we're getting rambly. I should just get to the outline. Okay, so let's get to the outline. We'll talk about the new series. Let's talk about stuff that people might actually care about here. So what are the new series that I'm going to be doing here on Red Zone Rogue? There's a couple, and I think they're going to be really fun, and I think people are really going to enjoy them. So the first one is, and we're going to hop to an overlay real quick. I'm going to swap between the overlay and kind of like this just face cam thing. But it is this series, and this is the, I believe I called it something along the lines of, what decks am I enjoying right now in the TCG industry? And I think we're going to make this into a quarterly series with a new one coming up very shortly here in December 2024. And hopefully I want to kind of do it, once per quarter of every year. And it'll just be kind of like a general update of the decks and games that I'm enjoying right now, or at the time, right? And so when I made this one before, it was, We Cross, Grand Archive, Ice Schwartz, Shadowverse Evolve, Vanguard, and Flesh and Blood. And obviously, these are going to change as my tastes change, as decks change, and all that kind of stuff. So sometimes some games might not show back up. Sometimes we might have new games. We're not beholden to 6, might be less, might be more. Like, for example, this coming time in December, we're gonna add Altered to this, because I have been enjoying Altered. I built one deck of every single faction, very much enjoying it. I think Axiom might be my favorite, but yeah. So that is one new series that we're going to be doing. People really enjoyed the first one. I really enjoyed it as well, so I think it's a really good fit for the channel. Now, other series. We have basically 2 more series that I kind of want to do regularly. So the next one is going to be a new game review series, and I think I've come up with a very simple but fun way to structure it. So I don't know what I'm going to call it quite yet. It might be called something like How Good Is Card Game, or like What Do I Think of Card Game. But the general gist is it's going to feature TCGs that I haven't really covered much on the channel, and in an effort to kind of like share my opinions of those games with everyone out there. So I have covered at least every major card game on the market, and I've already recorded 2 episodes. I just need to edit them. They require a little bit more editing than usual, and the format is going to be 3-part. It's going to be like a 3-segmented video. First segment is going to be a talking head video with me just kind of like introducing what the game is, right? A lot of people will know these games already, but I still wanted to do a little intro in case we cover games that you might not know a lot about, right? And then it's going to jump to some gameplay, usually one of my first games of this TCG, and I will try to have guests on who are big fans of the said game, so we can have like the best experience possible. Usually content creators, but maybe sometimes not content creators. So for example, the first 2 videos that I have lined up are Union Arena with my buddy Cosmic, and Star Wars Unlimited with my buddy Dan from Main Deck. And it'll be kind of like the gameplay will be kind of like a tutorialization kind of thing, right? So it'll be like my first time playing, or one of my first times playing. We'll talk about how the game plays and all that kind of stuff. So it'll be a good experience for other potential new players and that kind of stuff. And then the third section will just be like my overall thoughts after that. So we'll have introduction, gameplay, and then final thoughts. And I figured this is going to be a nice little compact way to talk about some TCGs that I typically don't feature, and have like a quick little, hey, what do you think about this game? And it's also going to be a good way to feature, new TCGs that are coming out. So, for example, the upcoming Godzilla card game, we'll talk about that shortly. It will be perfect for this series. Or something like maybe even the Gundam card game. We'll talk a lot about the Gundam card game as well. And, any new TCGs or ones that I just, have never played before. And then the third new series that we're going to do is just kind of like an annual series. And I think it's just going to be like end of year review. That's going to be like RZR's top 5 TCG products of the year. And it's just going to be one of those kind of like end of year recaps. I really want to make the channel a little bit more accessible, but I don't know how to put it. I want some more like, you know, overall generic content that anyone who plays any kind of card game can kind of like digest, right? Obviously, it's going to be through my particular lens. I have not opened every single product in the year, right? I didn't really touch Magic at all, for example, and I know their foundation stuff is pretty good, but you know, those won't be on the list because I don't have any experience with them. And those are the new series. I think they're going to be, you know, a lot of fun, and I hope people really enjoy them. Other than that, we have just a bunch of other stuff. You know, we have the regular Shadowverse deck deep dives. We're going to extend that to Wheatcross. I think I want to do a Wheatcross deck deep dive with like a bunch of different decks. We're going to do Gundam card game review. We're going to do just Gundam world premiere recap. We'll talk about we have a lot to talk about for Gundam in a little bit. We're going to do stuff like more gameplay for Shadowverse Evolve. I want to do more gameplay for just games in general, though those videos typically don't do well. I'm gonna do a lot more Vanguard content. We'll talk about Vanguard shortly. We have some dead game videos. Like I'm doing a Age of Sigmar Champions retrospective that I think is going to be a lot of fun. I bought like one of every single product that game like released, and we're gonna do a cool little video on that. And then I also have some like, you know, sponsored videos coming up from certain games here or there, and yeah, just good stuff all around. All right, let's go back to the outline. Okay, so main games. Let's talk about games we're covering here. So we'll talk about what games that I believe are my main games, both professionally speaking and personally speaking. I didn't have to say speaking twice, but you know, rambly as it is, as well as like what do I consider my third game. I have two games, and you can probably guess what they are, that I consider to be like my mainline games right now. Then we have maybe a third, and then like some side games, as well as upcoming TCGs that I would like to cover and probably will. They might make it to these like mainline game status. And so what do I mean exactly by mainline game? Well, it's exactly what I just said before. It's games that I consider to be main games for me, both on a personal enjoyment level as well as on a professional involvement level. And so those games are, one, Shadowverse Evolve, right? I'm literally a brand ambassador for Shadowverse Evolve. I'm one of the official English edition ambassadors, and I just absolutely love this game. It's my favorite game to play right now. Anytime I have to sit down to play a game, or have time to sit down to play a game, I just want to play Shadowverse. It's quick, it's fun, all the crafts are viable. There's a bunch of different archetypes. I just absolutely adore this game, and yeah, it's currently my favorite game, just bar none. Second game is Grand Archive, another game that I'm very much involved in. Absolutely love playing the game. Obviously, we have our collaboration card in it, and I've done casting for the game. Did casting at Worlds for both of these games this year, and just had a absolutely wonderful experience. The community is great for both of these games, and so those are the two games that I consider my main games right now. Now let's talk about what my third game is. And I don't know what my third game is now. It's kind of this flex spot. Wheatcross has always been kind of like this stable, consistent game for me in the last like 5 years, next to Flesh and Blood, but it's always kind of like a little bit of a smaller thing, and I, you know, don't have a lot of time to play it, and also I just don't know a lot of people who play it. It's kind of like a personal passion project game of mine. And then there's Cardfight Vanguard, which is quickly risen in the ranks for me. I think it's a wonderful game, and I'd like to do a lot more content about Vanguard. And those are the two kind of in contention for my third. I have a feeling that Gundam might end up taking that third slot, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes. We'll talk about that when we talk about the upcoming games. And then we have side games, right? And for the side games, I have a couple side games here. We have Altered and Vice Schwartz are definitely like kind of like side games for me. And what do I mean by a side game? They're basically games that are just like, I'll check out every new set. I'll have some decks for them, but I'm not going to cover them constantly. I mean, I probably will, but it's not like a super high concern. I'm not going to cover all the spoilers and all that kind of stuff that come out, but I do want to, you know, talk about them occasionally. And then that brings us to Flesh and Blood. And this is something that a lot of people have been asking me about. Essentially, and I'm just going to be as honest as possible, Flesh and Blood essentially is a game that I've lost a lot of passion for this year, and there's a few reasons for it. And part of it is due to just general burnout after covering a TCG for like 5 years straight. I literally have over 500 videos about Flesh and Blood. there's just some general burnout. And then there's other things too, like since I've taken a little bit of a step back from Flesh and Blood, the official Flesh and Blood website, they removed my video from their website. James White unfollowed me on social media. They just basically haven't contacted me, including to do casting for The Calling in the city that I live in, which sent me a pretty clear sign that they kind of don't want to work with me. Though they are sending me like a holiday kit, which I think is nice. But yeah, so it is what it is. The current state of Flesh and Blood for me personally is, I don't know. Am I quitting the game? No. Did I sell out? No. I have cut down my collection a bit, and kind of like trimmed the fat. Like I don't need 12 Command and Conquers, so I've been trimming it down to just kind of like the essentials for me. Still have my full 100% foil assassin deck. But Flesh and Blood is kind of in a state of reevaluation for me personally and professionally. And we still do the Living Legends podcast every single week. It is now on its own YouTube channel, the Living Legends podcast. YouTube.com/the Living Legends podcast. So yes, I still do that every single week, but it's on its own separate channel now. Will I be doing Flesh and Blood content on Red Zone Rogue again? Probably. But like I said, it's kind of in a point where I'm just kind of like reevaluating where the game is for me personally and professionally. So that's Flesh and Blood. Not sure what I'm doing with it or where I'm going with it. Not selling out, not quitting. Probably will cover it again. Probably gonna do a video opening the little holiday kit. But yeah, it kind of is what it is. Yeah. So that's that. Let's talk about some upcoming TCGs. Let's talk about some exciting stuff that I'm really looking forward to. So we have I have some overlays for this. Let's go to the overlay. So we have some overlays for this. We have, this is me becoming the ambassador. Look at that. Shadowverse Evolve ambassador. This was a huge moment for me. Like dream come true territory. It is amazing. This was taken in Tokyo, this picture. Yeah. These are just other events that I never showed the pictures. Well, here's the pictures. This is Dan and I at Grand Archive Worlds. Absolutely wonderful experience. This is probably my favorite event of the year. It was such a good time. The Grand Archive folks know how to put on a good event, and this was my favorite one of the year. It was amazing. One of my favorite ones of all time. Let's see. Oh yeah, here's me and the boys in Shibuya. So obviously we have me. Bottom is Daniel Yonto, Shadowverse World Champion. Obviously we have Chris Different Fight and Ignitius, the other Shadowverse Evolve ambassadors. Once again, Japan was a wonderful time. Hey, here's me in Japan again with my friend Yui. Yui Tokiwa, she's a Japanese TCG YouTuber who usually talks about Magic, but also a little bit of Flesh and Blood. We're at a Japanese LGS. Did a whole video on this. Yui and I spent the day together. She's awesome. And then, here's me at Anime Expo. This is at the Shadowverse Evolve Bushiroad booth, which is great. I do want to give a shout out, by the way, to Bushiroad just in general. I know they get a kind of like a bad rep from a lot of folks for various reasons, but just in terms of like a professional treatment and as a company, I think they're pretty great and they've treated me very well. So just from that standpoint, I very much enjoy working with Bushiroad, which is fantastic for me because I love Shadowverse Evolve and I'm really getting into Vanguard. Now this is just a slideshow. I plan on showing this as we talk about them. This is me at the Cygames booth in the exhibition hall at Anime Expo. Anime Expo was a wonderful time. I was going to show this when I was talking about Vanguard and Vice Shorts. And then what else do we have? Oh yeah, Gundam. Okay, let's talk about some new games. Gundam. So yeah, I got invited to the Gundam World Premiere event. The Gundam card game is a game by Bandai, and I'm very much looking forward to it. Gundam is something that I really enjoyed as a kid growing up. I watched Gundam Wing and Mobile Fighter G Gundam, and since then I've watched almost all of the original UC timeline. I've watched original Gundam, I've watched Origin, Zeta, Double Zeta, Char's Counterattack, Kukuru's Done's Island, which is a movie. I'm currently watching Unicorn. So yes, Gundam. I've fallen into the Gundam hole, and I did get invited to the Gundam World Premiere. In fact, I do have some like Gundam related stuff that I kind of want to show. So kind of getting into Gunpla too. So I have this this original RX-78-2 Gundam. This is just a high grade kit, but I also bought big boy. This is the new Gundam Verka, which is a master grade one. This one's a little bit more complicated. And I posted on social media about this, and I was like, yo, would anyone want to watch me like stream a Gunpla build kit, the kit build? And some people said yes, so we're probably gonna build this one on stream. Yeah, so you can say I've kind of like fallen into the Gundam hole. I also bought some, you know me, waifu model kit. This is Gundam. This is Gunpla, but waifus. Specifically, this is the Arcanadia line, and I couldn't help myself. This is pretty cool. She's kind of like a demon girl. She got like a scythe. I don't know. She looks cool. I bought a couple of those. We might stream that too. So anyway, all this is to say that I'm really excited for the Gundam card game. I got invited to the world premiere event. That's going to be happening shortly, and going to be doing a vlog of the event. We're going to talk about how it went, my overall thoughts on it. Hopefully I'll have a chance to actually play the game there. And I think the Gundam card game could be the first like Bandai game that I cover regularly here on Red Zone Rogue. I'm really looking forward to it. I have really high hopes for it. I have a little bit of concerns, especially stemming from like concerns about product availability and all that kind of stuff. I personally have not been able to get a one of the beta kits, but hopefully, because I got invited to this event, maybe I'll get a beta kit. And if I do, hey, we'll record some gameplay, stream some gameplay, and I think it'll be a lot of fun. And then going back to the overlay, we have Godzilla, the Godzilla card game. So the Godzilla card game is going to be coming out in 2025. We have no idea when, but we do know it is going to be published by Bushiroad. And hey, I love Gundam and I love Godzilla. These are two franchises that I grew up with as a kid and I really, really loved as a kid. I've seen so many old Toho Godzilla monster movies. I used to check out books at the library. If anyone knows what a library is, it's a place where you can go and rent books for free. And I used to go get like old books about Toho monster movies and stuff. I'm a big fan of Godzilla. So yeah, I'm going to be checking out the Godzilla card game. I hope it's good. Once again, I have hopes to this. What else do we have? Okay, I think that's going to be covering it mostly for the new TCGs. Oh no, Hololive. I don't have a slide for this, but Hololive. So yeah, I did a video talking about the Hololive card game. I think it's pretty great. If it gets an English release, I'll probably be covering it a lot more. I think it's a pretty interesting game and a pretty fun game. I'm not looking forward to it as much as I am Godzilla and Gundam, but yeah. And I also think Godzilla and Gundam will be a nice chance to feature games regularly here that are very much in my wheelhouse, but aren't like, super waifu games. I know some people aren't into that. For me, I dig it, but I think there's a little bit of variety could be cool too. I don't, some games aren't like, Grand Archive and Shadowverse, which are my main games. They do have like the waifu stuff, and I'd say it's like 50%. But it'd be cool to just have like, big robots and, big monsters and that kind of stuff, which is stuff that I personally enjoy as well. All right, let me look at the list. let me look at the thing. All right, talk about that. Talk about the Gundam hole. Yep, going to be covering. So this is the bullet points. Gundam hole. Gunpla streams. Yo, anyone Gunpla streams? And then the Gundam card game world premiere event. We already talked about that. Gundam card game coverage. Going to be doing that even more. Like I said, I think it has a high chance for it to be like my third game, assuming it's good. All right, so another big thing I want to talk about. We're going to go back to the overlays. This is the Patreon. So this is the Patreon kind of reboot that I am doing. So if you don't know, I have a Patreon, and I have links always down below, and it's like the best way to support the channel regularly if you want to do so. I'm never going to say, say it's like mandatory for people to support the channel or anything like that. I know how tough it can be sometimes, like money-wise. I've definitely been there before. I know how it is. But if you want to support and you have the means to do so, this is going to be a great way to do so. So This is the new Rogues Gallery mainline tier. I've kind of like chopped up, or not chopped up, but like I've gotten rid of a lot of the bloat on the Patreon. I wanted to simplify it, and I wanted to offer a deal that's like better than any other deal that I've offered before, but still has meaningful support for me personally, so I can keep the lights on. I can buy like a new mic, which is something that I very much would like to do. But the one that I'm looking at is like $400, and it's hard to justify that when, you know, there's rent to be paid and bills to be had and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, if you want to support, this is a great way to do so. Let's break it down real quick. So the new mainline tier is going to be $25. This includes shipping. $25 US or $35 international, and that's strictly because of shipping prices. Shipping prices international are absolutely absurd these days, from, you know, $15 to $25 depending on where it's going. And I didn't want to charge more than like $10 for shipping international, because I know there's a lot of folks out there who are non-US who want to support. And so I was like, $10 covers most of the shipping most of the time. And I'll just do flat 10, and I think that'll still give me a little bit of support after you factor in all of the costs of everything, and hopefully still make it into a deal that's like somewhat viable for folks. I would love it to be cheaper, but that's just kind of like how it is, right? So what do you get? What do you get in the tier, right? Other than supporting me, which is the idea, right? Don't think of this as like a good value. Like, this is not good value. This is how to support me but get something cool. This is like me thinking, what would I want from supporting a TCG content creator? Like, I support them in a meaningful way, and you get something cool every single month. So what do you get? So you get 3 Project Red Zone tokens. What is Project Red Zone tokens? Well, they're just the tokens that we typically do every month for Patreon. I did do my own custom card frame here. We're going to be working on it. It's a work in progress. As you can see, this is the one that it's going to be for December. So all this stuff is going to be for December. It's going to change every month, but this is the new token. We might change the attack and defense boxes here. It's a little cluttered, but I do like the general layout here. Took a lot of inspiration from Shadowverse Evolved with the overall layout. We might change it here and there as well. But yeah, I literally made this myself in Photoshop. The art here for this month is going to be a prototype artwork of Katsumi as a quantum assassin. And the card effect, I think, is kind of cool. It just says, use this token to represent any token card in any card game. And the quote that I wrote for Katsumi says, I'm on your side at any time in any universe, which is just, I don't know. I think it fits very well. And so you get 3 of these, right? You get 3 of these tokens every single month. It's not going to be this token every single time. It's going to be a different token every month. So, you know, like I said, it'll change depending on, you know, how things are. And then, actually, no, this is the December token is going to be different. The December one is going to be, we have a holiday one coming. Anyway, I digress. So you get 3 tokens. What else do you get? Well, you also get some booster packs. You get 3 booster packs. You will always get a Shadowverse Evolve pack and a Grand Archive pack, because those are my 2 mainline TCGs. And for these 2 packs, they're going to be the newest set if possible. So in December, this is what they're going to be. It's going to be Verdant Steel for Shadowverse Evolve and Mortal Ambition for Grand Archive. Now, we also have a 3rd mystery pack, and this mystery pack is to represent the variety nature of Red Zone Rogue, and it's going to change every month. So for December, this is going to be the Blue Archive We Cross crossover set. So this month is going to be Verdant Steel, Mortal Ambition, Blue Archive, We Cross. But next month, it might change to something else. And this is to, like I said, reflect what, you know, I'm covering on Red Zone Rogue. So possibilities in the future. It could be Cardfight Vanguard. It could be the Gundam game. It could be Altered. It could be Warlord. Or if when I go to Japan next, it could be a random booster pack that I picked up in Japan, which is something that I think I want to do. I want to buy just a bunch of Japanese packs in Japan of like random TCGs and like shuffle them up, and then every patron will get a random one when I return from Japan, which I think would be really cool. And it says see tier for details. All of this stuff, the packs and the cards, will be detailed at the beginning of the month. So we'll say what they are. So you can expect Verdant Steel and Mortal Ambition for a little while, because these are brand new sets. But when the new sets come out, they will shift to the new sets, and the mystery pack will also potentially shift to something else depending on what we're doing. Tokens will always change every single month. So yeah, this is a great way to support the channel, and if you can do it, I really appreciate it. We also have other tiers on there. We have a $3 tier, a $5 tier. Those are just if you want to support and don't want to do like 25 bucks. We also have a couple other tiers as well. All the previous tiers that people are active in, nothing changed. So if you're in an old Flesh and Blood tier or whatever, those aren't changing at all. I might change them if everyone leaves those ones, but currently those are not changing. And I just wanted to offer something that's a little bit better value than normal and better reflects where the channel is. So yes, I hope some people have already signed up for this, but it is live now. If you wanted to sign up for it, yes. Then these are the rewards for December. All right, let's talk about our girl Katsumi. There's a big face. Look how cute she is. So this is where we're going to start talking about some upcoming projects, as well as like my 20K milestone and all that kind of stuff. So I'm showing Katsumi. She is our channel mascot, and as you can see above me right here, that's kind of Katsumi's old design with like just the straight blue hair. And I kind of wanted to do an overhaul for Project Red Zone. And Project Red Zone is just what I'm calling all of the Red Zone Rogue original characters that I want to kind of expand into a little bit of different merch, as well as potentially some like little one panel or one page manga and some other stuff, just to have a creative outlet and to be fun with all the characters and mascots here. And so I talked to my good buddy, and he's the one who did this particular artwork for Katsumi. My buddy Gyul, who is a Grand Archive artist, and he's a really good friend of mine, and he is working with me to redesign all 4 of the Project Red Zone characters. So it's going to be Katsumi, Vea, Etoile, and Villain. And I wrote like a bunch of backstory and lore and like personalities for all these characters. They're all going to be in kind of more of a modern setting. And I wanted one artist to just kind of like do all of them so they look like they're all in the same world. And they all have like personalities, and yeah, I'm actually really, really excited for it. And this is going to culminate in a reveal. That's going to be like a splash art of all 4 characters with their brand new designs, as well as we're going to do some sleeves. And I'd like to unveil this for the 20K celebration milestone. In addition to that, and let's kind of jump back into this. In addition to that, I have like just a big giveaway and celebration planned. So where is it? I plan on giving away a bunch of stuff, and I want it to reflect stuff on the channel. So one of the things, I've been kind of sandbagging this for a little while, is, well, the figures. Big part of the channel is I have a bunch of anime figures in the background, and I was like, you know what? I have a figure that I haven't opened that I've just been kind of like holding for a while that could be great for this. And this is Asuka figure from Evangelion. This is kind of like the gothic Asuka. And I was like, you know what? We can give this away. I think Asuka is, anime, what's the right word? Not agnostic, but it's like anime general enough that I think it could appeal to a wide range of folks, right? So we're going to be giving away this Asuka figure, complete in box, as well as a bunch of other stuff. I'm going to compile a bunch of stuff. We're going to make it an awesome giveaway, including a special version of that Project Red Zone playmat with all 4 characters. And I will personally sign it, and I'm going to get Gyul to also personally sign it. I'll physically mail it to him to get it signed for the winner. So it'll be a really special playmat. So put that down. And so, yes, that's some of the stuff that I'm thinking of for the 20K milestone. Another project. Oh no, we have other merch. So there's other merch that I want to introduce during this as well. And one of them is a Katsumi plushie. I would like to do kind of like, hold on. Kind of like this. I want to have a Katsumi plushie, kind of like these like Fumo style plushies. I'm working with an artist to kind of get like a, I don't know, like a render, a little image of this, and then we're going to try to do it. I have no idea how it's going to go. I don't know any manufacturers. And when I tried to look on social media, I got a lot of bots. So if you know anyone who manufactures these style plushies in bulk orders, I want to order like 25 or 50 of them. It's kind of like a limited run to see how they do. Yes, let me know. I'd like to try that. And then dice. I'm thinking about manufacturing some Red Zone Rogue dice because I think they could be useful to a lot of folks, and dice are just generally useful, especially if you play games like Shadowverse and Grand Archive. They're exceptionally useful. They'll be very simple dice, like black dice with white pips, and then the 6 or the 1, depending on how it is, will be the Red Zone Rogue logo, the little diamond logo. What else did I have on here? Oh yeah, deck box. I'd like to do a deck box too. Possibly with like this Katsumi art, maybe with all 4 of the characters after they're all designed. Like each side of the box will have one of the characters or something. And I want it to be one of those really nice, like magnetic faux leather boxes like Grand Archive does. So that's another thing. If you know a manufacturer for that, let me know. These would all be limited run stuff that would be available on redzonerogue.com. And I don't, like I said, I don't really know the specifics of it quite yet, but this is stuff that I'd like to do. And then the last thing, video is long enough as it is, the last thing that I want to do is, I've already talked to the artist about this as well. I'll share who the artist is too. All right, here it is. This is not the artwork we're using. This is just artwork that the artist has done before. And I'll show another piece of art that he has done before. This is one of my favorite artists in the anime industry. He's an artist that has worked for Grand Archive, and he's literally done some of my favorite art. I have some in the studio. In fact, I have a canvas of the art that was displayed at Worlds from his artwork. And I want to have a piece of Red Zone Rogue splash art with Katsumi that is basically more sci-fi themed, specifically mecha themed, because Gundam, right? I'm really getting into Gundam, fell into the Gundam hole. If I'm going to be covering Gundam a lot, I wanted to have a piece of splash art that I can have as a playmat and maybe sleeves that I could use and fans of the channel could use for playing Gundam. And so I reached out to great artist and someone that I've been chatting with here and there on social media, Pinakis. And Pinakis has done artwork for Azure Lane and just a bunch of other stuff, as well as like these 2 pieces, which are just absolutely beautiful. And yeah, the general idea is that we'll have Katsumi as a mech pilot with some mechs. That's kind of the overall idea. I'm basically kind of leaving it up to Pinakis on composition and like mech design and outfit design. I kind of have a rough idea of what I would like the outfit to look like, kind of similar to this maybe, but I still want Katsumi to maybe have some kind of jacket like she does here or something. But yeah, I'm really excited for this. Working with both Gyul and Pinakis is fantastic. Some of my favorite artists just in the industry right now. Very honored to be able to work with them, and I'll share more with them as we progress, but you can be rest assured there's going to be like a playmat and Dragon Shield sleeves and all that kind of stuff. So I'm really excited for this. And yeah, that's basically it. I think we could probably end it there. This is the end of year 2024 channel update. Yeah, I just want to say a huge thank you to the community, everyone here watching. You're all awesome. I couldn't do this without you. I mean, extra huge thanks to everyone who's like been watching for so long, who has like, stuck around through all of the TCGs that I've covered, through, through everything. It was pretty, like I said, this year's been up and down. And early this year when things were rough personally, and also just randomly, not randomly, but just kind of like took a little bit of step back from Flesh and Blood. And when I saw just like a bunch of people just leave because I stopped talking about Flesh and Blood and people leave the Patreon, You know, it's never a great feeling when that happens, but it just also makes me realize how awesome the people who like stick around are. And so even if you don't, you know, financially support the channel, if you're just watching the videos, I thank you so much. Yeah, I really appreciate all of you out there. I kind of give a little shout out in the Rogues Gallery Discord about just how proud I am of our community, because some YouTubers do end up having like really toxic communities, and I've seen some toxic people here and there. I've only had to blacklist and ban a couple people, but for the most part, everyone is fantastic, and the Discord is exceptional because it's just like a group of, you know, like-minded, you know, nerds like me who want to just talk about a lot of stuff. So no matter what game you're into, go check out the Discord. People play WeCross and Shadowverse and Grand Archive and all that kind of stuff. In the Discord, people will talk about anime, manga, minis, figures, all that kind of stuff. So it's a good place, chill place. Everyone is welcome. I just want to have a good welcoming environment so people can just hang out, chat about whatever they're into, video games, whatever. Yeah, it's some of the video games are pretty funny. There's a couple of folks in there who are like really into Nikkei, and the stereotype would be like, oh, they're just like, I don't know, like gooner dudes who are into it. But most of the ones that I know in the Discord are like female who are really into Nikkei. In fact, I know more female people who are like really love Nikkei than I do like dudes, which I think is really interesting. So you know, shout out to them. They're great. Anyway, I also want to shout out to all the wonderful people that I met this year. You already saw pictures of them. Different Fight, Ignitius, Main Deck Dan, Yui Tokiwa, just wonderful people. And this year was as good as it was bad. So it's a memorable one for sure. So here's hoping to next year being consistently better. I think I've really starting to find my place in the TCG industry. I mentioned we have some cool collaborations coming up, and I think I've really like slid into this spot where I am a personality who will talk about a various degree of games. I do have the games that I like to focus on. Most of them are anime themed, and because of that, I do get you know, people from anime companies reach out to me about talking about their games, and you know, I'm a brand ambassador for a Japanese game, you know, published by Bushiroad, and you know, yeah, I'm just very thankful for all of it. So I don't have much else to say. I'm rambling. I can see the video is getting long. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. If you're still watching here at the end, I don't know, man. Comment your favorite mech or kaiju in the comments down below in honor of Godzilla and Gundam next year. Let me know your favorite. They don't have to be from that franchise. If your favorite mech is like the Big O, yo, or if it's like Escaflowne, yo, let me know. If your favorite kaiju is Gamera, let me know. And thanks so much once again. I appreciate you more than you know. Yeah. Okay. Bye.